Hello, and welcome to another edition of In the Spotlight. With us this month is Casimiro Rodriguez. And Casimiro has quite a title. He is the Hispanic Heritage Cultural Institute president and founder. Casimiro, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's a pleasure. You know, I've been reading about the new institute that's being developed on the west side of Buffalo, and it sounds like such a lofty goal. But you actually have a building that's being erected and started. It's not a goal, it's becoming a reality. Tell us a little about what you hope to achieve with the institute.
I just came from there. That was my last stop before I got here. But it's the Hispanic Heritage Cultural Institute. It's first of its kind here in Upstate New York. We're very proud of what we're going to be able to do once it's built. It's a 38,000 square foot facility. It's 3 floors. On the first floor, we will have office spaces, museum, art gallery, our cafe, gift shop, a theater, okay? On the second floor, we'll have learning labs for the children, a media center, office space, and on the third floor will be our activities hall with a culinary kitchen. Our learning labs are the Scott Beeler Family Foundation Learning Labs, and the culinary kitchen is the Goya Foods Culinary Arts culinary program.
So you've been hard at work getting sponsors, obviously. Goya, Scott Beeler, who is so philanthropic in his efforts throughout Western New York. What has that process been like?
Tough. When you raise funds and when you're in the midst of a capital campaign, finances are very tough. To be able to raise the funds that you need to build the institute. You know, this is it started at a $30 million project. Okay, we went through a process of value engineering where we cut some costs. So now the project is at close to 26 million. We've raised 18 million and a half, and we have a gap of around 7 million. And we have a plan to be able to fulfill that gap. But, it's very tough. But, Western New York is a very generous and philanthropic city. And, I wouldn't say it's been difficult, but it's been tough at times.
I'm sure it is, because there are so many other institutes and cultural centers and other causes that are so important to people. But Kaz, I want to dive into this a little about the whole Hispanic heritage and the rich history that you bring to the community. Is this something that you're trying to appeal to the next generation of Hispanic communities? Is it more of a wide-ranging type of approach where you're trying to bring everybody in with an emphasis on Hispanic culture?
All of the above. In 2009, I was part of the Erie County Cultural Resource Board. And as if you know, this board pretty much interviews and funds all the arts and cultural groups in the area. And back then, in 2009, when I was asked to be on this board, there was around 51, and I remember that number, 51 arts and cultural groups. And we interviewed each and every one of them. The executive director, the finance person, the chairman of the board. And I got to know basically what the arts and cultural sector does for our region and how rich and their mission and the vision of each of the organizations. And, my question has always been, how does the Hispanic community fit in to their vision, to their mission, to their events and activities? And, it was very little. So the only way I thought that we were going to change that and be able to get the Hispanic community contribute to the greater community as it relates to arts and culture is to create an organization that has a unique vision and mission of Hispanic heritage, history, and culture.
If someone isn't familiar with the Hispanic culture, what are some of the key things that come to mind when you talk about your background?
Well, it's like many other ethnic groups, the language, number one, the food, the customs, the traditions, the events and activities that we celebrate throughout the year, whether it be the Three Kings celebration, Cinco de Mayo celebration, the Day of the Child. You know, right now we're getting ready on the 30th of April to celebrate the Day of the Child, where we recognize and honor our children in the Buffalo Public Schools and in the educational systems. You know, the three pillars to the Day of the Child is literacy, nutrition, and character. You know, and that's a very important day that we celebrate every year. But Hispanic Heritage Month, from September 15th to October 15th, nationally, we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. And here in Western New York, it's become a staple. And we've been able to do this with partners like you and many other partners like in the arts and cultural sector.
There are so many misconceptions about different people of different backgrounds, people of color, people of different religions, and right now we're living in extremely unsettled times, not only in this country but around the world. Do you think that these centers can make a significant difference, Kaz? And in what way do you see that moving our society forward?
Absolutely. You know, the Institute's focal point or mission will be to prepare our next generation, okay? And with that comes the relationships that we build with other ethnic groups. You know, you would find me in many other ethnic celebrations, whether it be the Burmese, the Nepal, the Polish, the Italian, the African American. You know, you'll find me there because it's very important that in order to help our communities thrive and our city thrive, we need to learn about each other, learn about each other's history, their customs, their traditions, and the way you do that is to engage with them. So the Institute will be a place, a tourist attraction. It'll be located on the corner of Niagara and Hudson on the Niagara Street corridor, which is the Hispanic Heritage District, a stone throw away from Canada, where folks can come and learn about the history and the evolution of the Hispanic community here in Western New York that dates back to the late 1800s.
Certainly a rich history.
Absolutely, just like all the other.
Absolutely, you're so right. And it makes life so much more interesting, Cass, doesn't it, to learn about other cultures, to taste different food, to listen to different music and understand, you know, the genesis of some of these customs. One thing I want to point out in doing some research about your place, it's a sustainable building. So you have an eye to the future in that sense, right? Is it considered a green building?
Yes, you know, we have a plan with our architects and our construction company to be able to infuse green energy wherever we can, okay? You know, early on, the project back in 2019, 2020, when the pandemic, you know, we weren't fundraising, but we were taking care of other business like the environmental study, land acquisition, our business plan, and what have you. You know, we focused on a study on green energy. Mm-hmm. And that study came back, and that was funded by NYSERDA. You know, that study came back on recommendations that they gave us that our architects and our contractor had to look at to be able to make it energy efficient.
Excellent. I'm glad you said that, because it's a responsibility to the environment, obviously.
Absolutely, and yes.
And Kaz, I did want to point out too that you mentioned in the notes that you sent me that the facility will not only be sustainable, but also have a Hispanic Latino elegance.
Absolutely. You know,
so what does that mean?
Well, you know, if you visit many Latin American countries, whether it be Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, you know, wherever, Latin America, Mexico, you know, the architecture and the art is part of who we are. You know, so that needs to be embedded in the design of the facility, inside and outside. So currently we have a team of folks that's working on that to be able to look at storyboards and what have you with our architects to make sure that the color that are used inside, the color codes that are used inside and also outside represent who we are as people.
I love that. I love that colors can represent an ethnic group, if you will. so beautifully and so automatically when you see that color. It's a quick association.
Yes.
Kaz, tell me a little about who can join, when you expect to have your big grand opening celebration, and is there a fee involved?
There's no fee involved, okay? There will be a fee for, to generate revenue through rental space and also admission, possibly to the museum, art gallery, and the theater, and what have you. However, but our website is very informative. Folks can go to www.hispanicheritageWNY.org. There's a lot of information there. If you'd like to donate and be part of any naming right or any contribution, your name will be illustrated right on the wall as you come in. So we solicit that. We ask folks that would like to get involved with their donation or contribution to be part of this beautiful, elegant crown jewel of our Hispanic community here in Western New York.
Such a terrific location, too. And when do you expect to open?
We plan to open in 2025, the fall. We ground broke in September of last year, 2023. The governor came in for the groundbreaking, and we hope that 2 years after, we'll be able, during the same time frame, Hispanic Heritage Month, ribbon cut. So if everything goes according to plan, and which we hope it will, we'll be opening in the fall of 2025.
I look forward to stepping foot in what I'm sure will be a lovely addition to that ever-expanding Niagara Street corridor.
It's going to be not only a piece of art and the crown jewel, but the economic engine of that area that, that we need.
Sounds like a win-win. Casimiro Rodriguez, the man behind the plan, the president and founder of the Hispanic Heritage Cultural Institute. Thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to hearing more about your project as it unfolds.
Thank you very much, Brenda. And these segments are very important so that we can get the message out to the community. The community deserves, and our philanthropic and our contributors and our donors need to know where their money is going.
Well said.
And we try to be very good stewards.
Yes, yes. Well, best of luck as your project continues to unfold. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That'll put a wrap on this edition of In the Spotlight. We'll see you next time.